Professor Veerle Heyvaert, the Honourable Chairperson of the current session, is an Associate Professor at London School of Economics and Political Science. She teaches environmental law and European law. She has an LLM from Harvard Law School and a PhD from the European University Institute in Florence. She was the inaugural Sir Peter North Fellow at the Centre for Social Legal Studies and Cable College, Oxford. She has published extensively on issues of transnational environmental law and risk regulation, including recent articles on the emergence of hybrid norms in the European Journal of International Law and the globalization of chemicals regulation in the Journal of Law and Society. Her research interest areas are international environmental law and questions of compliance with international commitments, new developments in European environmental law, and in particular, the reforms of European Union regulatory framework for chemical control. Professor Veerle Heyvaert serves as the chairperson of the current session, and now I invite the Honourable Chairperson to begin this session with preliminary remarks.
Thank you very much for this very gracious and very generous introduction. I would like to welcome the rapporteur and all the members of the panel who will be presenting in just a moment. And of course, I'd like to welcome you all in the audience. It's a real privilege to be here, and it's been an extremely enriching experience to attend the start of the conference yesterday, and I'm sure it will be even more so today. The topic of this session is one that's obviously very close to my heart. This is my own field of research, environmental law. It's a very fascinating, it's also a challenging area of law to focus on but a few of the issues that make environmental protection a challenging agenda for law is that, well, as you know, the environment doesn't speak up for itself. We have a legal system that is very much developed around the notion of individuals obtaining entitlements and expressing and pursuing those entitlements. People always have to act on behalf of the environment, and this creates a number of legal problems in the first place in defining who has the authority to act on behalf of the environment and what actions can and should be taken on behalf of the environment. So that's just one of many fascinating questions that we as environmental lawyers have to struggle with. Another one is that, well, we cannot help but use the environment. It's impossible for us to go through our lives while leaving the environment intact, and that's also not the challenge we should be setting ourselves. But it does mean that in decision making, both in regulatory and judicial decision making, environmental law can never deal in absolutes. There always has to be some degree of balancing, some degree of trading off different legitimate objectives and interests and values against each other. And it's exactly this balancing exercise, the fact that we cannot deal with absolutes and that we cannot have black and white answers in environmental law, that makes it intellectually so demanding. So it is a challenging area. It's also a very necessary field of law, and I'm very pleased to observe that it's a thriving field of law in this country. Sri Lanka has a strong interest in having a well-developed notion and a well-developed body of environmental law. It is one of the environment and natural resources are a source of Sri Lanka's greatest wealth and greatest uniqueness in the world. And I'm sure, as you also know, recent developments, and particularly climate change and marine acidification and air pollution, pose serious threats to small island states such as Sri Lanka. So I'm really honored to be here and to be facilitating this blossoming research and this blossoming thinking in Sri Lanka about how to take environmental law further. And it's my privilege to introduce the first of the 5 presentations that we are going to enjoy this morning. And this presentation will be given by Ms. Siriwandana. Ms. Siriwandana is an undergraduate of the Faculty of Law here at this university. Her research interests are very wide-ranging. They include human rights law, space law, and environmental law. And I'm sure that, you know, in due course they will include environmental space law as well. She's published a research paper under the theme of human rights law in the KDU International Research Conference in previous years. Now, her presentation today is about the public trust doctrine. This is the idea that the government acts as a trustee of natural resources. It appears in treaties and in domestic law, and as the author will explain, it's active in India, and she is going to explore in her research how has the public trust doctrine fared and how is it being applied in the Sri Lankan context. You have 15 minutes for your presentation. It's up to you. Would you prefer to stay over there, or would you like to come here? You come over here? Yes, I think that's might as well make use of it. Okay. Thank you very much.